So, how are we doing the opening to this? Do we have to do a
While
rhyme?
watching the movie, my interest was sapped because of this absolutely boring and sloppily written crap.
That's way more effort than Jason has put into any
That
of
was
his
a
rhymes.
Oh,
There
that's
was
fair.
more acting in that than anybody but Peter Dinklage and Patrick Warburton in this movie.
Are you saying Peter Dinklage acted in that film? No.
No.
He acted more than everyone else besides
Fair.
Patrick
Very
Warburton.
low bar. Patrick Warburton was the only
Yes.
person, and he was just being Patrick Warburton.
Patrick Warburton goes 100 for absolutely everything.
Welcome
All
to
right,
Rough
welcome
Cuts.
to Rough Cuts.
Dogs, they're coming. They're coming your way. They'll be here soon.
I mean, it's a good way to keep getting work.
That's fair. Patrick Warburton's the only one that has to be hungry for it, I guess. Which sucks. He's good.
As the official Kronk appreciator of this group, I would like to say more movies need Kronk.
They
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah.
This was an object lesson in that. Just put him in every shitty dog movie. He'll elevate them.
Oh my God.
All of them.
Yes.
How's it going, everybody, by the way? This is Boix. My co-host, Ilion, is here.
Hello.
And we also have a special guest, Evil Urchin.
Hello.
Today, we watched Underdog.
I'm
Which
sorry.
More energy than the movie put into Underdog.
Yeah, I selected this one out of the list you gave me, and I apologize, but also condemn you for making me make that choice.
I don't think you need to apologize. I think that this movie... okay. I am both more satisfied with this film than most of our films, and also less satisfied because it was close to being actually, decent, good, and it falls flat in the stupidest fucking ways.
Yeah,
There are some shining moments of pure inspiration and a little glint of something better.
And Warburton-ness.
And then they just throw it away.
The only consistent thing about this film was its wasted potential.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's a fucking great way to put it. Yep. Oh my God, it's such a frustrating film because the fixes feel so easy.
Yes, well, they probably had the fixes in there too. They just cut them out.
Yeah. And it would make sense if they're okay, we need this movie to be an hour 30 because this is going to be a family film. We absolutely want 6-year-olds to be able to last through it. So we have a hard limit
30.
of an hour. That's what I mean. We have a hard minute of an hour and a half. They could have added 10 minutes of film and got there. And that 10 minutes probably could have gotten rid of almost all of our problems.
Because we finished the credits at an hour 22, I think. So that means
it's
the film
it's like an hour 10 movie.
Yeah, hour, maybe a little
15,
more, maybe
hour
15 or something. Yeah,
something like that.
10, 15 minutes would have fixed 90% of the problems that I had with this film.
Yes,
which Jesus Christ, how did they do that? And the best things about it.
Yeah, look,
somebody's so mad they're throwing dishes.
The one lesson from this film that we learned is that all dogs are bastards.
Yes,
that's all we need to know.
Obviously.
A dab. A dab, everyone. I'm dabbing right now. That's how you can tell it's a dab.
I do have to admit, there is something that is really unique about dog movies. Yeah. That they absolutely hate dogs. Mm-hmm. I know we've talked about this a lot, but every dog movie hates dogs.
That's true.
They either want to kill them, mutate them, or they portray them as misogynist, gay bashing assholes. There's no... When do we get a dog that's nice?
I mean, maybe just working with dogs is that much of a nightmare that's all they can really do. Just working with the dog in movies just makes you hate dogs.
Did they work with dogs in this movie? They just green screened all of them.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Underdog, the dog itself did do a couple of cute little, they weren't massive tricks, but he was doing things.
Yeah, I guess. He did pull off his collar at one point.
He drug a carpet over some destroyed things.
Yeah. There was that scene too where the dog punched through a window and 20 cubicles and killed a bunch of people in an office. That was just a real scene.
The Man of Steel collateral damage scene was.
I mean, as we established, we had Amy Adams.
Yeah, Lois Lane was in this movie.
And she was Lois Lane again. She was exactly that.
Well,
it was a 1-to-1 Lois Lane.
Hold on, that would imply that she got any characterization whatsoever.
That's true.
Well, they made her a reporter who's a damsel in distress.
Was she
That's
really
like
even a reporter, though?
She was the dog of a reporter for a school newspaper who didn't do anything.
She doggedly tracked down leads.
Look, I'm gonna have to.
Hey, listen, that's the level this film deserves.
Hold on. We're gonna have to cancel the podcast. It's over. Not with that.
Would Patrick Warburton have dropped that line? No.
No, he wouldn't.
No, he wouldn't have.
That's fair. Okay, what would Patrick Warburton do is a good thing that we should think of all times.
I kind of just want a supercut of all the Kronk scenes in this movie, like put into Emperor's New Groove.
Oh man!
Just like redub it. It would be exactly the same. Yeah. Literally exactly the same. It's so good.
Patrick Warburton does not have range, but he doesn't need it.
No,
like. The thing that he does is just so good.
Yeah, you hire him to be Warburton.
Yeah, you hire him to be just a charismatic idiot, and he's perfect for it.
I guess I kind of want to talk about what Underdog is. Maybe
some people
why?
Don't
oh, yeah.
Not necessarily the movie. We don't have to talk about the movie.
Okay. Bullet dodge.
Please.
We don't want to do that. We talk about the dogs, not the movies.
So Underdog was a cartoon character in the 50s, 60s? Is pretty old.
It's really
old. I think it'd probably be 60s.
It was made 50s. As a advertisement for General Mills cereal, as a spoof on Superman that would more likely appeal to children.
1964 to 1973, by the way.
That's what I was looking up to.
I think there was a revival either in the 90s or they just replayed old cartoons.
They just replayed. That's where I watched it.
On Cartoon
Network.
Network.
It was syndication.
It was on Nickelodeon, actually.
Forever.
Yeah, it was on Nickelodeon. It was on Cartoon Network. Yeah. It was one of the first shows on Cartoon Network before they even had actual like television shows that they made. Like Dexter's Lab was like that. Kids Next Door. Space Ghost Coast to Coast. A bunch of those had earlier versions of their show, and Underdog was one of the ones that got played during that. So that was my introduction to the show.
It'd be like the Rocky and Bullwinkle block kind of thing.
It's exactly the Rocky and Bullwinkle block. Which, oddly enough, a bunch of the actors in this movie went on to also make the Peabody and Sherman movie in 2014.
Yeah, that's why I picked Underdog, because I was familiar with it.
I heard
that one good?
I never watched it. Maybe that's something we should watch. It's a dog movie.
It is.
Well, I've heard it was good, though.
Look. We deserve good things sometimes. Come on.
You've had too many good films recently. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of stretched it with Sonic, huh?
Benji the Hunted wasn't terrible.
Well,
if you're into wildlife photography, yeah.
It was basically just a wildlife film. It was fine.
I'm starting to question the Stockholm Syndrome of this podcast. But the point is, it's a serial mascot they made a film revival of in some capitalistic, narcissistic look at trying to start a new franchise.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I just suddenly do want to go out and get some General Mills cereal for some reason after watching that.
I am cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, that's true.
There were kind of three real big actors, I guess, in this movie. I wasn't really fair before. There's Patrick Warburton, and of course Peter Dinklage does a little bit, and then the real heavy lifter is Cocoa Puffs box, because that was in a lot of scenes.
I kept forgetting what was happening in the scene. I'm like, damn, I want some Cocoa Puffs.
There was a lot of breakfast scenes.
While watching it, like we're not sure whether that was actually like paid advertising or whether that was a reference.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell.
I was glad that you brought that up. Yeah. It's so hard to know if they were like, because they went through a checklist of we have to do everything that's in the Underdog comic, and so like they had all of like Riff Raff, the bad dog that's his enemy, and they had to have like basically they went through a checklist of every single character and made sure that they squeezed them in. They made sure that they squeezed in his like really ham-fisted rhyming thing.
And that was terrible blonde hair.
Yeah, they gave Patrick Warburton some real awful blonde hair, like all of that kind of thing. Like they did that whole stuff. They did the Simon Says thing for Simon Bar Sinister, like the
Yeah.
villain character always did Simon Says this, and then they do things like they did all that. But
I just
man,
wish
like
Dinklage had been more like hammy.
If
I
Peter
wish the whole
Dinklage-
movie was.
Yeah,
Yes.
if
That was
Peter
the
Dinklage
problem.
was more Game of Thrones Peter Dinklage, this would have been great.
I mean, to
This
be
would've been
fair,
really good.
yeah, I don't blame him for not really trying an Underdog, though.
No.
But-
yeah.
Yeah, it could have been something.
It could have been something. I feel like a lot of that isn't on Dinklage. A lot of that is on, like we were talking, it's either I don't know if it's the director or the editor that was the editors that
I
were the
think
problem. with the
everyone
producers.
shares sin here, just on different fronts.
Probably. But, like,
Probably.
they do like little things where they have a transition where they do like a big U for the Underdog. They do the Underdog logo and it like swoops in very cartoony, kind of comic booky.
Yeah.
But like that's the only transition that they use like that, and then all the other ones are really normal, and they do it a couple times, and it's like, why didn't they do more like pause it like a panel of a comic book and have like pages flip over? Like,
Well,
they
was
needed to
Underdog
be
ever a
like just
comic?
always a little bit more.
I don't. There might have been Underdog comics, but the idea is it's a superhero movie, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if
like,
they're
it's
gonna
less
spoof a superhero movie, they should go all the way.
Yeah, it was less about like that it wasn't a comic, but more like just kind of making it about superheroes. Like it needed to go a little bit more over the top because like they kind of lean a little bit hard into some of the things, like him doing the rhyming and some of the cheesiness of that, and like especially anything with Patrick Warburton because Patrick Warburton's perfect for that kind of stuff. But like if they had gone just a tiny bit further, this would have been great in some ways. Like there was a lot of moments where I was like, oh, like this is so hammy. Like if they just acted it up a bit, it would be great. But then they just kind of left it very underdone.
So-
like it's
There were two checklists, I think, with this movie. One was a checklist that the people making the film had, which was just all of the generic crap we have to fit at some point of this film.
Yeah.
The other checklist is all the things they goddamn missed.
Yes.
yes. And there was a lot of stuff. Wow. There are so many things that were left on the cutting floor. Like you can tell too, like you were saying, you're like, I think that they just had these scenes and they were cut. And then later on, it was made incredibly obvious. So Peter Dinklage, I guess that we have to talk about the plot. Fuck. Peter Dinklage
Well, you won't
has
take
his...
long, don't worry.
No.
No.
He has his lab blown up because he's this evil mad scientist, which isn't really established what he wants to do other than make weird lab animals.
Genetic engineering. Yeah, that's it.
But like,
Sure.
for
Man's
what
best
reason?
friend, too.
Yeah. And yes,
Electric
we didn't get the
Boogaloo,
acid
yeah.
piss.
Look, if Man's
suggested that
Best
there was
Friend
going to be a
was so
piss
good-
joke, and there wasn't. But,
Yeah, Man's Best Friend is so good. Why isn't there a sequel?
mhm.
Oh.
Anyway, he's got like his big government lab kind of thing or something, and he goes into it, kind of starts doing all this mutating stuff, mutates the dog into Underdog, but then his lab gets blown up.
And the cat dog. I just remember the cat dog.
There was the
Yeah,
cat
he had
dog.
a cat dog in there. Dog that
And
just
the
randomly
dog that
meows.
pissed acid and ate. Oh.
I was about to say, there was no piss joke in this movie.
No, that's what I'd said. I'm like, we were all wrong. We thought that it would actually do the piss joke.
I have
but it
never
didn't.
been so disappointed in the lack of a piss joke as Underdog. Put that on the back of the box.
It felt like it would have fit right in.
Yeah,
it,
no,
it
100%.
really felt like it slotted in.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they have this whole setup where he's got this lab, it blows up, and then he's mad that his lab blew up, and like they have him in the sewer making a new lab, and it's like, wait, like was he working for somebody? Do they not have other labs? Like, what was his plan? Like, was this his own lab? Did he have, if he had his own lab, like why didn't he have insurance? Like, there's none of this kind of stuff explained. Like, what was his plan of mutating these dogs? And then, like, near the end of the film, he goes to the mayor and he's like, yes, the city will pay for, not listening to me in the way that they've wronged me. And it's like, nobody from the city ever talked to this man, ever.
He also
in
mentioned,
any
like, he made a
capacity.
proposal.
Yeah, well, that was what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So we're like, this all has to be cut. But then he goes in and he's taking over the city and he goes and sees the mayor character. And he's like, you now have to listen to my proposal that I gave you. And it's like, what proposal? Like, and that's where it became crystal clear that it was cut, right?
It was
like,
kind of out of
they-
nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
I am
like
curious, of the deleted scenes. Like, we didn't actually look at those. There might be some on YouTube or something.
Is there a
but-
director's cut of Underdog?
Oh my god, a director's
I
commentary cut.
kind of want to see it. I kind of want to see
There
it
might
because
be.
it just there's so many things like that. Like I wish that I could get into all of them. There's so much stuff that this movie spends a really long time kind of meandering and getting to set things up. And then it's like, oh no, there's a bomb on the roof of the building. Hard cut to Underdog flying to the top of the building, cutting the people loose, and then the bomb just being diffused.
Oh.
And it's like 10 seconds, just zero tension.
And that also brings me to another point. Molly and Polly.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the hell's the point? Why
Yeah,
are
they
there?
were they were never set up in any. They were there,
No.
and that's it. They were there.
They
Well,
were
you don't
in
need
the
to
movie.
set up female characters, friend. Like they're
Look,
isn't it obvious what they're there for?
the whole point of the women in this movie is to be ogled by the men and then taken as an object later. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's
Yeah.
literally all they did.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
No
So
joke.
then what's your problem? They did it perfectly. I don't understand the issue.
Yeah, we need gay bashing. We need women to be objects
You
for
know,
men to ogle, and we need a dog to get hit by a car.
Now you have your perfect Disney film from the 2000s.
They were conservative.
friendly.
They only threw in 2 gay bashing jokes.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
God.
Yeah.
Why did they always do that?
Because
Why do they
it's
always- okay,
hilarious.
It's less
It's
about
funny.
okay. Can I put a different spin on it?
Yeah.
Not why. Okay, I mean obviously them doing it period is awful. I'm not trying to make a joke about that, but like, why is it always the dog? Why is it always the dog that is like the sexist, misogynist, gay bashing asshole?
easy because it can be funny when the dog does it because oh look at that dog, he's just a dog. If a
God, I
person is
realized
doing
that
that,
even
it
as I
becomes
said
a
it.
little bit more problematic.
They realize they know that it's bad, so they have to put it in the
Mhm.
mouth of something that's cute.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they're too fucking cowardly to do it themselves. It's totally they want to say it themselves real bad. They want to be able to make these jokes, but they know that they can't, so they have to like put it in the mouth of somebody else. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to make a list of things that this movie references when it doesn't mean to reference them. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Man of Steel, obviously.
God, it was real dark when it snapped the neck of that Rottweiler near the end.
Yeah,
of the
that was
film.
that was not okay, but I understood the reference and I appreciate it.
Mhm. Yeah, it was pretty good.
There was American Werewolf in London with.
Can I pause for a moment though on
Yeah.
the Man of Steel thing though?
Yeah.
So Zack Snyder actually watched this movie though,
Damn,
right?
He had
Definitely.
to have. He
Because
had to
like
have.
Amy Adams, the actress who does Sweet Polly Purebred, yeah, I couldn't
Yeah,
remember
Polly
which one was
Purebred.
Molly and which one was Polly.
Yeah.
She was, and anyways, the dog version of the Lois Lane. She's the Lois Lane in the Man of Steel movie. Like this is just
Mhm.
Lois Lane across all the franchises. Zack Snyder saw it. Anyways, go ahead. The other one was Werewolf something.
American
Werewolf
Werewolf in London because
Oh,
of
yeah.
the really good joke about the cop that's doing the art of the person that saved Molly.
Oh God, yes, that was.
that was
There was a good gag at the
there
beginning
were
where
actual
they were just.
good like visual gags in this movie. A
There
couple
were a
of them.
few.
A couple.
Someone
Yeah, they're
cared.
describing how. They were describing how the girl had been. She was trying to describe how the dog had rescued her, and so like, oh, like who rescued you? And she's like, oh, he was white, and they get into a weird racist
White,
moment there.
so
for
he was
Yeah.
Caucasian. Ooh.
Yeah. But then she kind of starts describing this dog, and they have a police sketch artist, and he just turns around to werewolf.
That was
It's
such a weird
awful.
way to segue into a cute joke.
Yeah,
Why?
it's awful because she's like, he was white. Oh, so he was Caucasian. No, actually, he was brown. Ooh, don't like that.
Yeah, they went into a weird way, but they kind of brought it back, I
They
guess.
kind of
Although,
brought it back a little.
I
but-
think what we can safely say is that anything that was good in this film, Patrick Warburton did it. So that was probably
Yes.
his idea.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, like 90% of this. The good
Another
things in this
movie they
film are
reference-
entirely Warburton.
Sherlock Bones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For some
Yep.
reason, even though we're the only people in the world who's ever seen that movie,
Maybe
Sherlock
the
Bones.
director worked on it too, something like that.
They reference Love on a Leash
No.
because they need some kung pao, man.
They just need some Kung Pao. God, they don't. Yeah, they had similar line delivery on the Kung Pao.
They intended this, but they shouldn't have done it because it looked terrible. Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah,
Oh
they're
my
eating over
God.
like electrical wiring or bean
Ugh.
sprouts. We're not sure.
They reference
what the fuck was
Star
that pasta?
Wars.
No, you can't go
No, we
from
can't-
that pasta that
Okay,
fast.
so
We gotta
let's
linger
explain,
here.
Let's explain the pasta. Okay, so they're on top of a rooftop.
We gotta talk about the pasta.
They're on top of a rooftop. Underdog and Polly, which is like a cocker spaniel. So they're doing the Lady and the Tramp joke, the classic
Hold on.
eat a meatball thing from Airplane that Lady and the
Yes.
Tramp stole from Airplane.
So-
Yeah.
So-
Urchin, yep.
I was about to say, like, because one thing that was kind of bothering me because I'm a perfectionist is that Polly looks nothing like she does in the cartoon. Like, that's not her breed of dog at all.
It's a different
And I
dog.
realized
Yeah.
it was purely for the Lady and the Tramp reference.
It was
That's
for
why
that
they
joke,
picked that.
100%.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just blew my mind.
So typically in the Lady and the Tramp reference, they have the plate of spaghetti. One dog nudges the meatball over. They eat a single piece of spaghetti and then kiss. That's the joke. That it's not even a joke. That's the reference.
Yeah.
Right. So in this movie, they're on top of a rooftop with a plate of like white electrical wire / bean sprouts covered in ketchup with a meatball on top.
No,
One
with a
dog-
tennis
a
ball that was
It's a
painted
tennis
brown.
ball. Oh my god!
Something
It's a
like
tennis
that.
ball painted brown because they ran
Yeah.
out of fucking props for this, and the dog nudges it over, and they don't even do the like spaghetti kiss. It's just that's the reference.
Oh, the meatball falls down and splats comically.
They
Yeah.
spent the whole movie setting it up that was going to be the Lady and the Tramp joke by making a character into a cocker spaniel instead of her regular breed of dog. And then they put it in front of a fucking pile of
Yeah.
electrical cables and a tennis ball.
Never has so much
Yeah.
effort gone into something so worthless.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. It was such
Oh my
a
God.
fucking pathetic scene.
The
And
last.
yet-
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, that scene is so pathetic and just limp. It's just so done so badly, and somebody just slapped together in 2 seconds, and nobody gave a shit. Like, they
Hey, we're
just had to have the
contractually
reference in
obligated
there.
to do Lady and the Tramp. Hey.
Hey, it's
Yeah.
a Disney movie. Gotta put
We're-
in that Disney money and reference, eh?
Yeah, like, you had to do it, and yet at the same time, you had the scene of Patrick Warburton seeing himself in a mirror and going, "Hey, good looking,"
Yeah,
and just
right?
like hamming it up for like
So
a
good.
minute in front of the mirror for no reason, and it's amazing.
I
That
cannot
scene's
stress enough. There's no way
fantastic.
any of that was in the script. No
No.
way.
No, that was
No.
entirely ad-libbed, and it's fucking fantastic.
It's all good. All of it.
Oh god, but Warburton just hams it so well every single time.
What,
There's
yeah.
never a scene with Warburton in it that's bad, is there? In this
No.
movie?
Is the official Kronk appreciator? No.
God, it's so good.
He carried the film in his back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this could have just been Kronk Goes to the City, and I would have watched this film, to be honest. Not that Disney should take my ideas and pay me for them, but, I mean...
Oh, don't worry, they
we
won't.
have-
Yeah.
They won't.
They'll take your ideas, but pay you for them.
Ooh, yeah,
Have you ever
that's
heard of
asking-
Everyone who
Simba.
worked in The Lion King would like to
Yeah,
talk.
we
Yeah,
both
right?
do the
Jesus.
same reference as like anybody that knows Simba. Fuck. Oh my god.
The one movie...
That was Kimba the White Lion, was it? They took it
Kimba,
from?
yeah. They
Yeah,
still
well, I was
Yeah.
talking about how the fact they didn't like compensate anyone who worked on the originals when they did the live action.
Oh, you don't know about Kimba?
I know about Kimba. I was
Oh,
referencing something else.
Yeah.
Sure.
Both
sure.
things are awful. How about that?
They're both terrible. The
Yes.
one thing I
Yeah.
didn't expect them to accidentally reference twice, by the way, is Django Unchained and slaves revolting against their master in the South. What the fuck? There's two scenes. So there's one scene where Kronk... I'm just going to call him Kronk. I don't
Yeah, that's
fucking
fine.
care what his
Yeah, it's
character name
fine.
is in this movie. It's like Cap
I
or
don't-
something.
It's Cad, which is actually
Cad.
pretty
Cad?
good too.
Yeah. Well, he's from the
Yeah.
cartoon, so
Yes.
that's what
Okay.
he's called.
He's Kronk.
He's
So
Kronk.
so Kronk is dressed up as an old lady, and he puts a leash on Underdog, which is somehow a choking collar, but it's just a leash attached to
It's
his
n-
regular collar.
Yeah, it's not. It's not at all. Not even a little bit.
And he
It was-
pulls Kronk through the city, all along the street and the roads, and through things and into like fire hydrants. And this is 100% the like dragging scene from Django Unchained, and I'm not okay with that. I don't like that reference. No, thank you.
I don't know. If there was one thing that Django Unchained needed, it was more Patrick Warburton.
I would have accepted that. Yeah. The second scene was the German Shepherd dogs revolting against their master by biting his shirt and pants.
When he had superpowers at the time and probably could have done something about it.
He was
by very gently like grabbing a hem of his sleeve.
One of them was Bender.
The more I think about it, the one of them was
Yes,
Bender.
one of them was
Bender.
That's true. That's actually really
Bender.
good to point out. Yeah, he did not do. John DiMaggio is a really good voice actor.
No.
He didn't care about.
No,
this
well,
movie,
why would he?
Yeah, no, I know. I don't suggest that he should, but it was pretty amazing how little he just bothered to do it.
He might have
just
wanted
liked
to do
his
something
Bender
different,
voice.
but like I'm guessing actually that the voice director probably just told him, "Hey, do your Bender voice." It's like, yeah, I could do something. Nope, do your Bender voice.
Probably.
We paid for
Bender. Yeah, that sounds about right. I wouldn't be surprised.
I really did not like, now that I'm thinking about it more, CGI Peter Dinklage jumping around like Yoda. It looked fucking awful, just like the prequel Yoda looked awful.
Yeah.
And it felt like the same animations. It's like they just reused the Star Wars animations.
Just worse
for this.
because they didn't have Star Wars money.
Yeah, it looked really weird.
And it was pointless. Like, they didn't do anything with it.
They didn't do anything with it. It was worthless.
Like, they could have had, like, Dinklage and Underdog fighting, or... No, they never did that.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, that's what we talked about before, though, is that this whole movie is exactly oh god, it was all just for nothing. It was so worthless. Like, there's so many things where they get, like, the cast is incredible for this film, right?
Underdog, more like underdeveloped.
Hey!
Yeah. God. But like they had to spend real money on them. Whether we like some of the actors, Jim Belushi, or not,
I forgot about Belushi somehow.
there is a Belushi, but
there's a lot of
whether
them
we
too.
like the actors or not, there's a lot of really high end actors in this film. Like they had to pay some real money to get some of these people, but yet there's just like. They don't do anything with any of them. It's all in service of nothing. Like there's
Samantha Bee was in this movie, and she
for like 2 seconds.
She doesn't
Samantha
do anything
Bee's
funny.
In it, Amy Adams.
I don't know.
What did she even do in the movie? I don't remember anymore.
She was like a principal, or
she was the principal.
Was she?
Worker.
Okay.
Yep. She was the principal.
She needed to do a Clint Eastwood impression for me to remember, and she didn't. So. I don't know.
And actually, now that I think about it, like a lot of the names in this were kind of, but this might have actually been before some of the, like Peter Dinklage wasn't that big a name at 2007.
No,
was he?
wasn't.
No,
Samantha Bee
no,
wasn't
not
either.
him. But like Jim Belushi would have asked for some money.
Yeah.
Jim Belushi would have been like, that's what I mean. Like Jim Belushi wasn't cheap, and honestly, at the time, Patrick Warburton was actually probably making a fair bit of money too.
Fair.
Like at the time, Patrick Warburton would have been a pretty big get. Same with Brad Garrett. Brad Garrett was like one of the voice actors. And like Amy Adams and like Samantha Bee, like there's just a lot of like I don't want to say that the cast was super expensive, but like for what this movie is, for how slapped together this movie feels and how lazy it feels, like they spend a lot of money on it for what it is.
If I was to make a visual reference of how this movie was written and produced, I think it would be sloppy chili on a wall.
Appropriate. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
The start of this movie, dog does sloppy chili on a wall.
He just breaks a can of Hornell's chili. Did you know that this podcast is now sponsored by General Mills cereal and Hornell's chili? Please sponsor us. I would take your money.
I mean, you took money from the Underdog people.
Yeah.
Speaking of the voice actors and the amazing talent they had, there was Jason Lee in this as well, who would have actually been quite a bit of money at the time, because that was right in the middle of him earning a lot of awards, being Earl on My Name Is Earl.
Like that was
right in the middle,
era.
It was at the pinnacle of it was the pinnacle of the My Name Is Earl era of television. So he would have been a pretty big get. That being said, I feel like this movie might have chipwrecked his career, because that's where he went.
The problem
right
with
after this.
Jason Lee, I'm going to let that slide. I'm not going to mention that pun. The problem with Jason Lee is that every time he talked, I just heard Brody, and I was waiting for like Matt Damon and other people to just show up, and they didn't. and I'm like, This movie kind of feels like Kevin Smith wrote it a little bit, and he didn't. Parts of it do.
He was a ghostwriter.
Well, that it's just like a bunch of that it's a bunch of reverential humor that just is kind of garbage and slapped together.
Flat. Yeah, it feels like a Kevin Smith movie. Yeah.
And nobody actually really cares to act in it. Yeah.
Could you imagine if they put Jay and Silent Bob in the Underdog universe, though? That would actually be.
Yeah,
I'd actually that would fit. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that would just 100% fit. Anything with Jason Lee, honestly, you can just put Jay and Silent Bob in the same movie.
It would work.
It'll automatically feel correct. Yeah. Like, there's not much. Jason Lee is typecast for a reason. Like, he can't really do other movies, I feel. Not that I hate Jason Lee. He's fine.
I mean, a lot of actors have their places. Like, this is what they're good at.
But yeah, I mean, like, Jason Lee is definitely, like, he's the guy that you can put Jay and Silent Bob to him in everything, and yeah, that'll work. That's the movie that he's in, always.
I think we should talk about something a little bit more positive about this film. So let's go ahead and go over the kill count. So...
So, you're a cat burglar, huh?
Get it?
Well, I'm not really a cat person. Woof.
I don't.
Okay, so we can talk to the criminals, but
There's no
he's dead.
He fucking killed that guy!
Yeah, man.
There's no need to fear. I'm a goddamn murderer. Bye. Well, okay, some of them might have been maimings. They seem like they should have been kills. But...
So how many people does Underdog negligently murder?
Well, there's one that he definitely murdered.
Hold up. That's not... Whoa. It's not negligence when the first kill is him finding a man crawling up the side of a building, and he throws the man off the building! That's not negligence!
Like, at least 10 stories? Maybe more?
Negligence would be letting him fall... That's just straight murder when you shove him.
Yeah, the newspaper clipping like that showed up after that was really burying the lead when it said he nabbed local jewel thief or whatever. It's like, no, he nabbed him straight into the grave.
Yeah, he killed him. There was...
He went through the roof of a cop car from like 10 stories up.
Yeah.
That dude was fucking gone.
At the very least, paralyzed for life. One of the two. Oh my god, there was the mailman. He literally murdered the mailman and a cat at the same time, which is very Man's Best Friend. There's a lot of references to Man's Best Friend in this movie.
Come on.
Is Underdog gonna kill the mailman and bury him under the house?
Why is the mailman taunting him?
Whoa.
Because he's a jerk?
That's right.
Mailman
Run, mail slinger,
dog.
run, and never come back here again. Great. 2 for 1.
He did kill the mailman and a cat!
And it just gets better and better.
God.
And it's
Wasn't
weird.
that what I was expecting?
It's weird because Bishop doesn't show up, like, in a different movie, and he's just like, yeah, this fucking horror Underdog is out there killing people, and if you don't stop him,
Lance... I really wish Lance Henriksen had been in this movie.
If he just showed up out of nowhere with a shotgun, oh my god.
Peter Dinklage kind of had the same energy as Lance Henriksen did. Like, where immediately when he showed up, Evil Urchin was just saying like, oh my god, Peter Dinklage is in a different film. And that was very much the energy of Lance Henriksen in Man's Best Friend. Yeah. This is entirely in a different movie the whole time.
There had to have been at least some amount of people that died in cars while he was flying through like New York City streets, causing accidents left and right.
Oh yeah.
There had to be a couple.
Blowing up cars and stuff.
The office space that he went through literally every cubicle, at least a couple heads are gone.
That sandwich that he stole, that lady's hand was gone, guaranteed.
Oh yeah. Easily.
With you talking about like the Man's Best Friend thing, somebody needs to put in effort, not us, to put together like you could do a really good smash cut trailer of like Underdog with Man's Best Friend and just put Lance Henriksen in like a bunch of the scenes for Peter Dinklage.
You could. It would.
You could absolutely recut a trailer for that.
Lance is already in a different movie in that movie. It wouldn't even matter.
No, it just have the same energy the whole time.
Oh. God damn it. The other thing that's very important to talk about is exactly how horny Underdog is. I guess.
Oh, is that the thing that we need to do?
I guess.
I mean, we've got to rate the dog.
Plot point. That dog is very horny.
The dog is very horny.
Was it a plot point? Like, nothing involving the female characters was plot relevant at all, so...
They set up a love interest thing between Boy, that's his name.
Boy, yeah.
And
Boy who never worked again.
And Molly.
I just want to pause for a moment, though.
Yeah.
You said set up a love interest thing. Can you explain how they set that up?
Oh,
because I don't feel that there's... I feel like you're using the word setup very generously here.
Okay. Because they put male characters next to female characters.
Yeah,
Done.
Let me lay it out.
Okay,
let me lay it out for you.
Yeah.
So, you know how in heterosexual relationships, when a man sees
I've
a
heard
woman,
of those.
falls in love with them at first sight, and then just claims them as his own?
Oh, yeah. When a man, like, walks down a street, and then he looks backwards and sees the woman's ass, and he goes, oh, she's mine now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, all regular heterosexual relationships. Yeah,
so they did that, but there's also a dog.
Yeah,
and
that's
Underdog
fair.
also does that to the dog, but he doesn't say, look at the chassis on that lassie, because he's classy.
Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, that's fair.
I
have a wife, so I know that's exactly how I met her, and, I planted my flag and claimed my wife, and that's how you have a relationship.
Yeah, so every heterosexual relationship starts with tattooing the woman with your name so that they know that they are yours.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they set that up, and then...
Oh God, I hate how they do. Like, I can keep that bit going. I just want to go back and say that we don't agree with that. No. That fucking sucked, man. Anyways, go ahead.
That's yeah.
So that was the setup, and then they're like, "Hello, Molly, who also has girl dog. I am Boy, who also has boy dog. Now we are together." And then they didn't kiss, and nothing ever happened. Which I guess is the best case scenario when you think about it.
Well, I mean, they were the only women who existed besides Samantha Bee, so
Were there women in this film? There was Samantha Bee, but...
There was Samantha Bee, and there was Molly and Polly.
I don't think there was a single female officer either.
Nope.
I don't think
God, no. There was no female officers, there were no female security guards at, like, the lab thing. I don't think we saw women walking down the street or playing in the park.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Well, no, there were a couple of women in the park that the camera, like, went past.
All the women in this movie were with a male in their couple. And they were, like, doing something romantic, and then Underdog went by, and, like, her hair blew in front of her face or something like that. It was never strong, independent woman,
No.
It was always woman with man in heterosexual Christian relationship. That's it.
Well, this is Disney, yeah, I mean.
It's weird. I didn't think about that when I was...
Not even be a plot device.
Just nothing.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Like, there was no reason... Because, okay, so the thing is that she gets... tied up and put on the roof of the building and set next to the bomb.
For no reason.
And so you'd be like, oh, okay, well, she's the plot device because they're going up there to rescue her. But that's not it. That's not the reason why they go up there and stop the bomb. No. He has a vial on the bomb that's going to let him control people and become as obedient as his dogs, which already are rebelling against him. But
classic,
like that's the plot. Like, so they go up there and they're like, oh wait, you're up here too? Like, they don't even really realize that she's there?
Well, hold on. They found the bomb initially because they heard her calling for help, even though he smelled the bomb earlier, so it would have been found out like that, but...
Yeah, he smells it and says it's on the roof. So, like, she is entirely extraneous.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything about it after smelling it until he hears her screaming, though. So I think they were trying to, like... I don't know, it's like mixed motivation. I don't really know how to explain it because they weren't thinking about how to explain it.
No.
I guess, yeah. They literally could have cut every scene with her in this movie and it would be exactly the same. Like, they could have just, like, CGI'd her out and muted her audio and there would have been no difference.
It would have been the same movie.
Would have been more respectful, probably.
Okay, but what if they took her out of the movie and replaced her with more Kronk?
Oh, yes. God,
I would have liked the movie better.
Just make his girlfriend into Kronk.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, can we just have
Dual roles.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why don't we just have Patrick Warburton actually
He
act as
already
two separate
dresses an old
characters?
lady for it.
That's so
Yeah.
good. Do it. Do it.
Holy shit! Like, I need the Kronk cut.
It has to be him, though. Hold on, it has to be him, though, because as we saw, Jim Belushi and the kid, that scene was uncomfortable.
Oh
why?
no! Oh,
I forgot.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's an entire
Oh.
scene where Peter Dinklage
Yeah, you
and
take
Kronk-
this. You describe it, please, Boyks. I'm glad that you're just like who. I was sitting here thinking like, oh god, who's gonna have to describe this? And Boyks just leaps to the rescue. Thanks, Boyks. Good job.
Jumps right on
Appreciate
that
it.
grenade for us. I brought it up, but I
Man,
threw
what
the
a
grenade,
hero.
you jumped on it.
All right, go ahead. Good one. Go ahead. Describe the scene.
That slide whistle's actually appropriate for once.
Oh.
Okay, so I don't want to do this anymore. Peter Dinklage and Kronk, I guess take Jim Belushi hostage and lure Underdog and Boy to their underground sex dungeon lair.
By having dogs
Which is going to
mildly
become
bark at
relevant. Which is going to become relevant.
And then they take away Underdog's superpowers, give it to a bunch of German shepherds, and leave after tying up Boy and Jim Belushi. Okay, they're gone. Jim Belushi and Boy are in the sex dungeon, which is I shouldn't have called it that. And
No. You
you're
you have
right.
gleefully jumped on this grenade and you're doing an excellent job. Please continue. Yes.
So Jim Belushi teaches Boy how to get out of his sweater that was tied behind his back because it's the stupidest fucking thing ever.
Yeah.
And then they're both like handcuffed and Jim Belushi's tied up. So they do a scene which they could have done well of Jim Belushi helping his son get out of the handcuffs so he can untie him. Except they put him on his lap and got a really pervy shot of just the upper part, but they're all struggling below the scene.
Yeah, and Jim Belushi's facial expression didn't help.
And he kept reaching, and it did not look good.
And the
No.
boy's leaning forward really awkwardly.
yeah, and backwards
Like,
again after, and it's just like,
I
why?
swear we're not looking too deeply into this. They shot it like this.
It was
Why?
really uncomfortable. Like
they could've
instantly
just
it was
done a
like,
wide shot. They could have
Yeah.
not had the kid on his lap, just standing next to him. They could have done a lot of things to make this not look fucking gross.
They could have kept the tight shot even and just like changed the angle slightly and it would
Yeah.
have been okay.
Just
But like they
anything.
went from this weird low angle, like where it's the boy's face in close as he's leaning forward, and Jim Belushi is like looming face
Yeah.
behind it, making all these
My
weird
skin
like
crawled.
grunt faces, and it's just
Why did
Maybe
they-
this is why the kid was never in another movie. He was at the premiere and saw that was filmed. Like, no, I'm not
Ooh.
ever being in a film again. Fuck
that
this.
actually would
That
make
scene
sense.
was gross. I don't. They didn't mean it to look that way. I'm 90%. It's just like awful filmmaking, but it looked that way. It shouldn't
Yes.
have.
Yeah, I don't know how they didn't like. This film is fairly it's competent on
Enough.
the filmmaking side of things,
Yeah.
right? Like I mean, like it's the lighting's fine, like
There's
the
no
scenes
boom
are shot
mics.
pretty decent.
No,
like,
that's
yeah.
impressive, yeah.
boom mics.
Well, there is
or
a boom
anything,
mic, but it's
like-
only in the hilarious bloopers or in the credits.
Movies don't do that. Don't make fake bloopers. Fuck off.
Yeah, they do the fake.
If you're gonna do
blooper
fake
with the
bloopers, do it
CGI.
like Thor drinking coffee and smashing the fucking glass and asking for another. Something like that, or whatever it was.
Yeah,
That was just in the
but-
movie.
That was that's a regular movie, but
Yeah.
like it's generally competently shot, so it's just so wild that they didn't look at this and go,
Ooh.
"Oh,
Yeah,
right,
they-
so move that camera up like 6
I
inches."
don't even want to
and
speculate, honestly.
That must have been their first take. They're like, it's good. They didn't go back because they didn't care.
Yeah, you know what? Let's just hope. Yeah, that was the case. That was the case.
Of all of the things that they cut from this movie,
They
they
left
decided
They had to keep
leave
that in.
this in. Like, of all the scenes, because like a whole thing too, where like halfway through the movie, well, it's more than halfway, it's like 3/4 plus the way through the movie. It's actually in the same scene that he's like, "Dad, you were the best cop in the city," and it's like, "Wait, what? Was this set up?" And then like later on, like the cops are like, "You're off the force, you can't go in there," kind of thing. And they have like this big scene, and then the mayor's like, "No, he's reinstated, he can do what he wants." There is no scenes at the beginning of this movie that make any reference at all to Jim Belushi being a cop. He's just a fucking security guard.
There is a bit where they say you get like medals, isn't there?
I don't remember it.
At the
I
beginning,
think they did.
So at the beginning, the cops are making fun of him for being a security guard instead of a real cop, which we thought was just a joke. And then, so that was a bad setup.
Well, because I mean, like
later,
that's generally
on,
what they would do to security guards.
Yeah, later on, his son is like, "You were the best cop on the force. The mayor gave you 2 awards. Why'd you quit, Dad?" Which is also a terrible setup. But
Did he do that?
He did. Yeah,
Okay, I must have missed it.
While we were talking. But
it's like a throwaway. But that's even more of a condemnation of it. It's like a throwaway one-of line from his son.
They didn't show anything. That was the problem. They told
and it
the
feels
audience
like there was more that was.
Well, yeah, that's basically this whole film. Tell, don't show.
Yeah, there's some very literal versions of that too, where the underdog actually narrates a lot of the film, and it's pretty incredible when they have a moment of Peter Dinklage like doing scientist stuff to take away his powers, and Underdog just goes, "Oh, see, now he's using this machine to take out my DNA, and then he'll replace it with a regular beagle." And he just, like, narrates exactly what's happening. Like, they don't show a single thing that's going on. They just have him narrate it.
Guarantee that was added in later after focus group testing.
Could be.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
so
it definitely felt like it.
One of the only other movies this director has ever done, period, because he's only done 3 movies, is Quest for Camelot. And I don't remember a single fucking thing about Quest for Camelot, so that's a pretty good sign.
Never heard of it, surprisingly. I've heard of like everything, but that one's just completely outside of my radar.
I think Quest for Camelot was in that late 90s, let's do a Disney animated movie phase. And, yeah, it was 98. And it was something about Excalibur, whatever, dragon, who cares, Disney garbage. I don't actually know if it was a Disney movie, but it's weird. I mean, it makes sense to get like a shitty director for some random throwaway reboot of a General Mills cereal icon. Which, when you put it that way, yeah, okay.
Yeah. You don't pull out Coppola from retirement to do this.
Yeah, I wonder what the Peter Jackson cut of Underdog would look like. There'd be a lot more cannibalism.
Quest for Camelot had to do fucking gangbusters, right? No, okay, I just looked it up and it didn't. I was gonna say, because like, why did this man keep getting major roles, like the director? So like, he was an animator, and then he became director for Quest for Camelot, and then he did Racing Stripes, which, like, we're talking about the cast of this one being pretty good and having a lot of money behind it. Racing Stripes in 2005 had Frankie Muniz, Mandy Moore, Jeff Foxworthy, Snoop Dogg, Dustin Hoffman, Whoopi Goldberg,
like
Steve Hardy,
people.
David Spade, like what? Like,
I mean,
and that
the
one,
B team, but
yeah, but I mean, that would have been, well, not Frankie Muniz at the time wouldn't have been. That'd have been huge money. So it's like, what? Like, why him?
Look, well, I can tell you exactly why. Honestly,
yeah, go ahead.
It's probably because he was really easy to work with, and he'd do whatever the studio told him.
Yeah. Quest for Camelot was Warner Brothers' attempt at making a Disney animated movie in the late 90s.
Okay, that tracks.
Underdog is a Disney attempt at making a Marvel movie in the mid to late 2000s. Right?
Yeah.
Including Budget Stan Lee at the end.
Yeah, Budget Stan Lee. When I saw him, it's just like initially, it's like, is that Stan? No, it's not. Budget Stan Lee.
Yeah, you caught him. I didn't notice it at first. And I was like, oh, yeah, yep, fair.
And they did us all a favor by destroying the world's last phone booth, which I very much appreciated. Thank you.
To bring it back to the director for just a second, I actually had another possible theory as to why they hired him. And I forgot about it. I saw it earlier. He is a Belgian film director, And so I'm wondering if it's like kind of a Yui Bull situation where if they're filming in like various countries, they can get around tax laws. And then just, it doesn't matter if the film loses a shit ton of money because it's just like a money laundering tax write-off operation.
It could be, to be honest.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Because that's entirely Yui Bull's career. That the minute they closed that tax loophole in Germany, Yui Bull stopped making movies. That was the thing. He was entirely just a tax man.
Day to be celebrated for eternity.
So, Underdog was filmed in Providence, Rhode Island.
Okay.
At the State House.
I was just thinking because Racing Stripes was filmed in South Africa, so it's kind of like,
Wait, I just found an article saying the Rhode Island governor was not amused by Underdog filming.
What? Did it make Rhode Island look bad somehow?
I don't
think so.
This? They replaced the
Maybe he
state
just didn't
flag
like the movie
of Rhode Island State House with a fictional city, and he was pissed.
Oh my god. That is...
well, that's not surprising at all. Whatever.
That's the most pathetic reason to be angry at this film. There's so many reasons to hate this film, and he picked the most petty. I love it.
The governor thinks we must be careful to preserve the dignity of our historic structures, such as State House.
Yeah, such as the State House of Rhode Island. Cool, dude. Fuck. God, I still...
State House of Rhode Island, only mildly smaller than the actual state.
You can't be angry at the fact that they have the scene of Jim Belushi walking into it in like flannel shirt that's half undone and jeans past all the SWAT officers. That felt a lot more disrespectful.
The fucking SWAT team in this movie, they're the fastest response team of all time. Every time they show up,
they just have a SWAT team on every street corner in Rhode Island. Didn't you know?
This is also why he was pissed. Disney actually deconstructed part of the state capitol to put a broken, like a floor they could break and some other stuff into it, and then they reconstructed it afterwards. Yeah. So he was pissed that Disney like destroyed their capitol for this shitty.
They
movie.
Rebuilt it.
They were outside of, well, it's more that he was probably annoyed that like they were outside of his office and he was like doing meetings and had to deal with like,
I would have been more annoyed that they presented Rhode Island as a police state.
Were they wrong? Were they
wrong? The SWAT team's like, somebody's like, oh my god, like there's a hostage situation, and the next scene is always like 5 seconds later, the SWAT team has it fully surrounded, 20 vans. It's like, Jesus.
This was an accurate representation of cops standing around doing nothing and then playing military by jumping in and destroying a door, just rushing into a building. So,
you know what occurs to me? I don't think we ever actually finished the quote-unquote plot synopsis.
There's a plot?
It doesn't matter.
That's why I
so anyways, let's rate the dog. So how do you feel about... Yeah, we're done. So how do you feel about Jason Lee as Underdog? What was his... Oh, God, what was his actual name? Shoeshine? I was going to say it was Shoe something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because in the cartoon, he was a Shoeshine boy.
I would say that Brody as Underdog... the beagle's cute as a beagle, and sometimes the beagle's ear flops over and they don't fix it, and it's pretty cute.
God damn it, Jim. Well, you could have fixed that.
Which I guess is like an 11 out of 10, pretty standard beagle rating. That's my rating.
I love that Jim Belushi cares so little for this film and so little for other life that he won't even flip over this dog's ear.
This fucking monster.
God.
How about you?
Well, okay, so... the actual dog in Underdog.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about this. I mean, the dog is cute enough that the film writers and the director were able to make it say all of the racist and homophobic shit that they wanted to say and were too cowardly to put in a human's mouth. So, there you go. That's how cute it is. It's so cute that you can make it say horrible things. Aww.
All right, racist out of 10. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was fair. Like a we had about a 0.2 on the Chevy Chase scale.
Can we not?
Which is still way too much Chevy Chase. Yeah. You generally want to have about a -5, so just putting it out there.
So my opinions on the dog are a bit mixed. So yeah, it was kind of cute. It did a couple of like neat tricks. Like they weren't like massive tricks, but did a couple of cute like things that it was taught to do, clearly.
Yeah, the rug pull and stuff was good.
However, The question is, do we dock points for the terrifying CGI human expressions they gave it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the murder.
There were a lot of those.
The murder's fine. It's whatever.
Eyebrows.
At least it was cute.
I'm okay with the murder.
Yeah.
Why did they give all the dogs eyebrows?
Yeah. It looked like the dogs were having, like, mini strokes.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about.
Yeah. We do know that all of the cutest dogs are murderers, right? Like,
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Like Greta, man's best friend. They're all of the cutest dogs are murderers.
Cujo, delightful big old dog.
What a
such a big shaggy dog. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we should rate the best boy in the movie, and I'm gonna rate Kronk a 14 out of 10.
Oh my god, yes. Okay, so the good boy in the movie is in fact Kronk. And
Kronk said,
he's
well, I don't remember Kronk saying too many bad things, but
no, he didn't. He just had his we never mentioned his thesaurus.
Yeah.
Right, Kronk's thesaurus. You can go ahead.
Oh, the peas.
Okay, the peas. So when so early on in the movie, when Underdog escapes after being injected with genetic engineering juice, he destroys the lab, and like shit's falling down everywhere. Like Peter Dinklage gets all burned up, and Patrick Warburton's fine, but his thesaurus got destroyed except for the P section.
Yeah, because he's an idiot who doesn't understand big words, so he has a thesaurus that they set up. Yep.
Yeah.
So for the rest of the film, he just will randomly like start dropping like weird one-liners with completely inappropriate long P words because he just got its like burned up thesaurus in his hand. It's just a running joke, and it's delightful.
It's a delightful quirk. Yeah.
Like at one point, oh god, what was the word that Peter Dinklage's character used? There's this big P word, and he's like, "Wait, I think I have that one."
He
starts looking through it.
Yeah,
starts checking his thesaurus for
like,
it. So
it's a good setup with a good payoff joke that like doesn't need to be there, and I appreciate it. Yeah.
And again, Patrick Warburton definitely came up with that himself.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. Every single thing that's good in this movie is Patrick Warburton's fault. It's so.
Yeah.
This is making me depressed because it had potential. This movie could have done something.
Hey, the P word.
It had potential.
I got that.
Like I said, this film is just wasted potential. The movie. That's all it is.
Yep.
It is not like it's not like a little funny that he does the P thing. Like Patrick Warburton really sells it. It's great. Like he's really funny when he does it. Honestly, there's a couple of scenes where I was chuckling quite a bit just at Patrick Warburton.
Yeah.
But wasted potential. All right. Thank you for listening to Rough Cuts. I think we're done. We've rated the two best boys in the film, Jason Lee and the much better Patrick Warburton. Yes. And thanks everyone for stopping in. Thank you, Evil Urchin, for being a wonderful guest today.
It was delightful coming. It was less painful than I thought it was going to be. Mainly thanks to Patrick Warburton.
You picked the Patrick Warburton movie, and I appreciate that. It really saved our ass. Yeah, big shout out to everybody who retweets our stuff and sends us in emails and all that kind of stuff. We did actually get an email from a fan. Not a joke this time. We got a really, really cool fan art for Benji the Hunted, which is amazing. If you want to see that, you can follow us at Rough Cuts Cast on Twitter. We've put it up there. It's absolutely fantastic fan art of Benji as Rambo, and it rules. And so if you want to check out all those things and all the updates that we have, what the movies we're going to be doing next, you can check that out there. We've got lots of GIFs and stuff from the films, all the best little scenes that we can find. And we're going to have another special guest again next time, too. So we've got a few things coming down the pipeline.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
All right.
You ever just think about Jason Lee squatting down in a park and